What is up, guys? CharleyPangus here. Welcome to day 4 of 10 days of t-shirt designs. I'm really excited to bring you guys this episode. I'm not gonna lie to you guys though, I am exhausted already doing these, but I am doing them for you guys, and you guys are my motivation for this. So if it wasn't for you, I would not be doing this. So anyway, so let's talk about the design today. We are going to remake this Whiskey Maker's vintage badge in Photoshop, and I'm not going to go over how to grunge it, but I will go over how to design it. And this is a really cool design because it's simplistic, but it says something and it has age to it, and I really love these type of designs. So anyway, I'm going to show you guys how to do that today. It's a really easy tutorial, so if you're a beginner, do not worry, you can learn this no problem. So let's run that intro and get this going.
Man, I'm not gonna get home.
So I'm in Photoshop, and I hope you are too, so you can follow along. So what you want to do is create a new canvas, okay, or a new artboard, whatever you want to call it. Just go to File, New, or Control N, and then make sure your canvas is set at 4,000 width by 5,000 height in pixels, not inches. That's really important. If it was in inches, that'd be extremely big and it might crash your computer or something crazy along those lines. But anyway, 4,000 by 5,000 pixels, and you want to make sure it's at 300 resolution, super important. RGB is not important. You would have to convert all these colors to Pantone colors anyway if your design is colored, but right now this is not important. So we're just going to go to create, and I already created one. So this is my canvas, and this is the design we're going to be recreating today. And a lot of these are pre-made shapes that I found online, like this badge in the background is a pre-made shape. The only thing I made from scratch was this banner right here on the left and right. Everything else is already pre-made. It just goes to show you that you can use resources online to create really cool stuff. You don't always have to do everything from scratch. Even these whiskey bottles I found off a free vector site. So like I said, you don't have to remake every single thing. It's not a big deal, guys. If you are good at drawing, you can always draw things up and do it that way, which I usually do, but for this one, and time's sake, I'm not going to do that. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we want to start with is actually this badge in the background. So I'm going to draw that out, or not literally draw it out, I'm going to drag it out using my custom shapes and start there. So I'm going to hide this one and create a new folder for my design, and this is going to be the home for all my layers. So I'm putting all my layers in here. And now that I have that folder set up, I'm ready to start laying down a shape. So I'm going to go to my Shapes tool here on the left and go to Custom Shape Tool. All right. And once I go to that, I have all these shapes right here. Now I already pre-downloaded some badge shapes, and you can find these online for free, like I said. And I would recommend you actually experiment and go look for some. But I already have some right here, so I'm just going to use one I already have, and I'm just going to drag it out. Now I don't like this one, so I'm going to go back. And I also need to make sure my color is white because it was set to black, and it's going to blend in with my background. Common sense is turn it white, correct? So anyway, now I'm going to find the one I used. This shape reminds me of like a Pepsi or Coke bottle cap or something, and that's what I really like about it. I'm a really big vintage fan. I like anything that looks like it was in a garage for like 20 years or something like that, you know? So anyway, now I have this custom shape, and I can just title it badge. All right, and we are going to copy this because we're going to use it to make another inner stroke on this badge. So we have the main solid color and we have an inner stroke. So in order to do that, all you have to do is duplicate it once, and it's going to be a weird process, but stick with me here. So I'm going to rasterize that one, and I'm going to add, I say Ima, but I don't mean to say Ima. I think it's just like a natural thing because I'm talking so fast. So if I say Ima, just ignore me. I'm sorry for that. It's really not proper, but anyway, who cares, right? So I'm going to add I said it again. All right, so I'm going to add a inner stroke. All right, inner stroke, just like this. And what I'm going to do, I almost said it again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the inside out and paste it back on top. So before I do that, I want to merge everything together, flatten it, whatever, or no, not flatten it, don't flatten it. Go to rasterize layer style. So what we did is we created an inside stroke, or first actually, we duplicated the badge, we created an inside stroke. So I went with a 59 stroke on this, so that's fine. And then we just rasterized layer style. And what that did is it combined everything together. Now what I want to do is I want to go to my magic wand and just select the white and do Control X and copy that. And then I can actually delete that badge copy layer now. And then what I want to do is go to Edit, Paste in Special, Paste in Place, or you could just do Shift Control V, it does the same thing. So now it is in place. And what we could do is just add an inside stroke or an outside stroke, but I prefer inside, of about 25 5 just to make things even, just like that. And that's it. Now the first part is done, and what I want to do is I want to group the badge together so I know where everything is and everything's organized. Now what I want to do is make my banners before I make anything else, because it's just the natural flow of things. So I want to get all the banners set up first, figure out where they're going to lay, and then add everything else. So I'm just going to draw out a rectangle real quick. And if you guys are having trouble following along, please just pause the video. It's really that simple. Like I have a couple people that get it, but some people really don't get it. Just pause the video. It's not a hard thing. If you have trouble, I understand, but just pause the video and you'll learn. So what I'm going to do is on the left side here, I just want to add a anchor point in the center. So I added an anchor point in the center, and the reason why is because I'm going to drag the anchor point down to create this banner effect. So we're gonna take this and drag it to the right, and it will create that banner effect. So now what I could do is go back to my direct selection tool down here and just select this point only and drag to the right, just like so. And I can even use my arrow keys to re-center it, because it's not perfectly centered. Now it is. So I'm using my arrow keys to nudge it, and then I can let go. If I'm not happy with it, I can click on the rectangle again and move it again. Now it's looking really good, so I'm happy with it. Now I can drag it into place wherever I want it, and it's good practice to center things, so I centered it already, just like that. And I'm going to fill it with black. So go ahead and color overlay, and then fill it with black. And you can also do it this way. If you have the rectangle and it's not rasterized or anything like that yet, you can go down to the shape tools here and just change the fill to black as well. So once you fill that black, what you're gonna do now is just go to Effects, add an inside stroke, just like that. So we're adding an inside stroke on this rectangle, and the reason why is, you could probably tell, is just to blend it in with the badge that we have, which is white. Simple, right? So we're gonna go to 50 on this, just to keep things even. I don't like odd numbers, like I don't like doing 51 because it's odd. So now what I wanna do is duplicate this banner, now that I'm happy with it, and then go to Control T and flip horizontal, just like that. And that's cool. Now I've recentered it on my canvas just to make sure everything's looking good. And if you don't like certain things, like right here, I don't like how this looks right here. It just looks awkward to me. So I can rotate my badge and just fix everything that I don't like. So that's looking better in my opinion. So now what we can do is we can start laying down some other shapes in order to finalize this. So the next thing I want to do is I want to add a circle, which is not only going to cover this part right here, that looks ugly, it's also going to act as our text path. And you guys probably seen how I use text paths in the last video and using Illustrator. Text paths are pretty awesome because we can add text literally around any shape or path that we create. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm going to this rectangle right here, and I wanna go to ellipse, and I'm going to lay down a circle. And the reason why is, you'll see right now, it's gonna be a white circle we're laying down, and we're gonna add that right in front of the banners, and you'll see why we did that. See, as you can see, it cut the banners off, and that's what I wanted. It gives it this really cool look, and that's the first part down to adding the centerpiece. And what we could do is label these banners so we know, and we can label this cover or something like that. So we can name this white cover, so we know that that's covering the banners. And then the next thing we could do is lay down our final shape that we're going to be adding to the center. And to do that, you just go back to your shape tool, custom shape tool, and just find the one that you like to add to the center. You could just add a normal circle or any other shape. I'm going to go to this one because I like this one, I think, the best. So I'm just going to drag this out. You can't see it right now because it's white and it's blending in with our background, our main shape. To fix that, just add a color overlay. It's easier. So make it a black color overlay, just like that, and we can resize it. We resized it, and that's looking good now. I'm happy with this. And now what we could do is we can start laying down the text. Alright, so we have that white cover now, which is perfect. So what we can do is we can go back to that white cover and we could duplicate it once, and now we have a copy. So don't rasterize it yet, because if you rasterize it, you cannot create a work path around it, or you can, but it will be harder and it's just not as efficient this way. So don't rasterize it. You can rasterize one of them, like the main one we can rasterize because it's just a cover. As you can see, it's just covering these banners. So that one's fine, you can rasterize that one, but for this one, let's keep it a smart object, a live object, and go to our T-tool now, and then we can hover over the line here that pops up. You'll see a faint black line. Hover over it until you see a wave and just click once, and now you created a work path. Now we can type out whiskey, or whatever we want. I definitely misspelled that, but it's okay, because I cannot see it, so I need to drag these points around so I can see it finally. Figuring out where it's at right now. I think it's hiding, so if I need to fix that, I just go up to my character set here and I can actually fix that. So yeah, it's hiding from me. That's exactly why. As you can see, the line spacing was not appropriate, so I had to fix that line spacing and put it back at 0, and that fixed my alignment here, the line height alignment, and now it's showing again, so that's perfect. What it was doing is it was on a negative alignment, so it's just hiding behind this shape right here, and that's why. But anyway, we fixed it, so we're good. Now I can align it to my badge here. In order to align it, all I have to do is drag these points like I taught you guys before. I can center one of them here and then center the other one here. And if I need to make sure it's centered completely, I can add a ruler, and by adding this ruler I can kind of align them both to this ruler. See? Really cool. I can resize my text because I'm happy with it. We can make it quite large. I think I can go up to like 90 probably with it. Maybe 90. Let me see. It depends on how it fits really. So the text path can actually be resized. So to fix this, because right now it's a little too, I mean it's sitting too high up, so I can either change the line height or just fix the work path, and I'm just going to fix the work path. So selecting the whiskey text, I'm going to do Control T and just hold in Shift and Alt and resize it. I could make whiskey bigger, but I'm not going to do that. I think it's fine the size it is. We're just going to keep it like that for now. And then now what I need to do is add the bottom text. So in order to do that, I just need to copy this once, and I need to go back to my path selection tool here, and then I could just basically select the top line here. If I hover over this black faint line, you'll see these left and right arrows appear with an eye in the center. Once you see that, you can click and hold and drag down, and that will force it to the bottom, and you can kind of mess with it. So I'm playing with it. I drag down and I'm moving it around the axis is what I'm doing. So once I move it around the axis, it's going to go to the bottom, but that's not what we want because it's flipped completely. So what we want to do is just drag down one more time right here. And this is really confusing unless you play with this and practice with it, because it will be confusing, I promise you, but you will get it down with practice. So now it's where it needs to be. We just have to change the line height in order to fix this. So I'll just go negative with my line height, and that will fix it. And that's basically all we have to do to fix this. So we can do makers now. So I think I did whiskey makers just like that, and that is fine. So that's looking really good now. So it's where it needs to be. I'm happy with the positioning of everything, and we're one step closer to finishing this badge. So the next thing I would like to do is start structuring things, because everything's kind of getting crazy on my layer palette. So before I move forward, I want to basically group everything together that belongs together. So these white covers can be grouped together. They can be called covers, and we can actually hide one of them. We don't need both of them. One of them we just use for a text path, so we can actually delete it now. We don't need it. And then the text can be grouped as well, and we can label that text. So all the text is going to be in this one folder, and it's going to be really nice and organized. And then we can do the middle piece right here. We can just do middle shape, just so we know where everything is, and that is it for that. Now the next thing I would like to do is add these whiskey bottles. Now I already found one online from a free vector site, and it's right here. So I'm just going to drag it into my artboard, and I already pre-colored it and everything. So I'm actually liking the way it's bigger. I'm just going to keep the whiskey bottle smaller because I think it looks better actually. So now I just need to kind of align it where I want it, and I need to duplicate it once because I'm going to put one behind and do this cool little like 3 effect in the background. So there's one in front, there's going to be one in the back on the left, and one on the back on the right. And what I want is I want the X to barely show in the back here, just the first 2 to show, and I'm going to do the same thing for the right side, just like so. And I can actually drag them in a little bit more, they're a little too far out. And then what I want to do is group these ones, background, whiskey, just so I know they're in the background, and then I want to recenter those. Just like that. We can even recenter the middle one just to make sure. So I just need to mask this and add a black box over it so it covers the X's. So this is really easy. I'm just going to take my lasso tool or my polygonal tool, it doesn't matter, and I'm going to select around it real quick. And what I'm going to do is just basically fill it with black. Simple as that. Nothing more to it. Now what I can do is type out a date, and let me find out what date I used on the original. 1494, I think that's when the first whiskey bottle was made. I think that's where I got that from. So now I just am typing out some text, and I'm going to put that right in the center of the whiskey bottle. like it's actually on the label. Really cool, huh? The last thing we need to do, the easiest part, guys, is adding one more shape, which is a star, and we're gonna duplicate it once because we need 2 of them. So I'm going to go to my custom shape tool, and I'm just going to find a star. I don't have to use a regular star. I can use any star I find online or the ones that it comes with. This is a 5-point star. There's actually a 10-point star as well, and I think I like the 10-point star. So if I want to use that, I can just drag that out, just like that. And I want 2 of these, so I'm going to drag one of them out. So I created one of them. Now what I'm going to do is hold an Alt and just duplicate it real quick, just like that. And now I can group those and name it star and recenter that to my canvas. And that's how you know it's going to be perfectly centered with the banners. Now I did notice the banners are kind of far out, so I can just go back and fix that. And guess what? We literally put everything in a group. So now all I have to do is go to my group and open it up, and now I can adjust things accordingly. That's why I did this. See? And I'm going to recenter that just like that, and that's actually looking good. Now I can go back up to my stars and reposition those as well accordingly, and then recenter those, and now we are solid, guys. Now we have whiskey makers, and there's some really big spacing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this text bold first off, so it is already bold. Another thing that I realized I can probably do is make the text just a slight bit bigger, so I could probably go up to like 90 with it. Let's try that out. And then I can change the letter spacing down again. So I can do like 100 for the letter spacing. So I actually like that better. So I made the text bigger. So I can make the text 90. I'll do it one more time for the bottom. And I can change the letter spacing to 90. So that's looking good, but I did notice the line height's off now since I resized the font. So I just need to go down a little bit with it. So I'm at 54 now, and it's touching that black line, and that's perfect. That's what we wanted. So that's looking good. And now this design's pretty much complete, and all I did is added my own ink texture to it, and I don't want to show you guys how I do that because it's a secret on how I do that, but this is the final product once you're all done. That is it for this design. Thank you guys for joining me on day 4 of 10 days of teacher designs. This has been a really fun journey so far, and we still have 6 more days to go, and it's gonna be really fun, guys. Each day we're gonna be doing a new design, and I really appreciate you guys commenting in the section below. Another thing is I just want to thank you guys for subscribing and hitting that thumbs up button. It's been helping my videos a tremendous amount. And also I want to thank all the people that have been visiting my website and purchasing all my resources like my mock-ups and designs and everything like that. You guys are really supportive and I really appreciate it. But that's all I got for this episode, guys. Thank you so much. I will see you in day 5.